students, we want to look at the third part of the cash budgeting. We've already done cash receipts and cash disbursements. Now we want to put those two together and finish this up. So let's go to Wolf Den now and look at what you need to have. You need to go to Test 3 material. We want to pull up Chapter 4, Part 2 PowerPoints. We want to do the cash budget problem, finish that up. That's what we've been working on. Your homework, you should have been working on the receipts and disbursements already, and so now you need to finish this up for me. Okay, let's take a look at the PowerPoint slides. We're going to begin on slide 416, okay? And it says here the cash budget for Colson can be derived by combining the receipts and the disbursements. At the end of September, Colson's cash balance was $50,000. Notes payable was 0. Marketable securities 0. They want to maintain a $25,000 balance. They'll have an excess cash in October and a deficit in November and December. Okay, so now you need to go to the we need to go to the problem. Okay, in-class problem for the cash budget. If you're behind, we've already done the receipts. This is what it looked like from Monday. We've done the disbursements, and now we want to put it together on the second page. If you scroll down, you'll have the second page where we want to put all this together. Right, I'm sorry, this is your homework problem. The in-class problem, not really sure why it's not pulled up there, but let's take a look at the name of it here. In-class problem should be Colson Industries, and we want to look at the page where it says Table 410, Cash Budget for Colson. Okay, so it should look like this, and I'll go check and make sure it's right on the website, okay? Now, let's look at this. What we need here on the first line, we need October, November, December receipts. Where do you find that? Go back to your first part of your problem with Colson, okay? And it should be 210 for October, we figured. I'm sorry, yeah. 210, 320 for November, 340 for December. So carry those numbers over. 210, 320, and remember we truncated it, so it should have 3 zeros behind it, and 340. Now go back to the second part that we did on Monday or Tuesday, whenever we did this, and you want to go to October. This is the second part of Colson Industries that started with purchases. Go all the way down, 213, then come on down to November, 418, and December was 305. So carry those numbers over. So you want 213, 418, and 305. Now the first number was what we intend to bring in cash. The second number is what we intend to pay out. So you can put that in parentheses, draw a line under this, and let's do a little subtraction. So on the first one, if you subtract here, what you're going to have is a -3. Okay? On the second one, if you subtract, what you're going to end up having, there, I was looking for my class problem online. Hold on just a minute. What you're going to have here is a -98. You're planning to spend more than you actually have. And in December, you actually have a surplus of 35. Okay? Now, let's look at this line, beginning cash balance here. That's the next line. We just did the net cash flow, although mine's a little bit crooked. This is net cash flow. That's what you have after subtracting your disbursements. If you go up here to the problem, it says at the end of September, there was a cash balance of $50,000. Think about your checking account. If you have $50,000 at the end of September, that means that your beginning cash balance in October is going to be 50. So your beginning cash balance is 50. Now, if you take the -3 and add that to the 50, what you have is a positive ending balance for the month of October of 47. Positive ending balance. Okay, that's good. Now, if you notice this line, that 47, which is the ending balance, becomes the beginning balance for November. So that's where that line comes from. It's just a little bit off. Okay? Now, we can't do the next one because we have to, well, I guess we can. Let's go ahead and do this out. That would be good. -98 in November plus 47 means that you'll have a -51. So you don't have enough money in November here. Well, you're going to have to carry that balance over where the error is, and that's going to become your beginning balance. So take 35, which is positive. I'm sorry, this should be a positive number. Okay, no parentheses. Notice positive 340 minus 305. So this is positive. 35 minus 51 means that you have a -18 here. Is that right? No, 16. I'm trying to read off my screen since I can't do a calculator. Okay, so if you're really working backwards, what you'd end up doing is taking the negative, adding the positive 35, and that gives you a -16. Okay, so now those are your ending balances. Now, notice here we want a minimum cash balance of $25,000. For some reason, the bank wants us to keep $25,000. That's going to be a subtraction, okay? So 47 positive for October minus 25 means that we actually have a surplus of 22. Okay, this is a surplus, so put it excess cash. That's called a surplus. Okay. So what do you do with it? Well, notice they say marketable securities. Come on down here. What do you do with excess cash? Invest short term. That's what they're referring to, marketable securities. Invest short term. Okay, or you could just leave it in the account for the next month or to use for operations. But investing short term will get you a little interest. Now let's go to the next one. November, you had a negative ending balance of 51. We want to keep 25. That's what we're looking at here. Minimum cash balance. You want to keep 25 in the account. So -51, -25. If you're, what you would be doing is adding two negatives here. So you're going to have a deficit. You're going to need financing. So that means here we have a -76. Okay, a -76. You're going, notice how they have notes payable? If you come down here, what do you do with a shortage? Okay, you're going to have to borrow. Now, you could go back in your budget and you should really cut some things so that you have a balanced budget. Since this is budgeted, okay, you could cut out some expenditures like the equipment or some other things. If you go ahead and follow through with the budget, that tells you that you need to borrow from the bank. Okay. Now, let's finish this up. In December, we had a -51 that we subtracted from the positive 35, which gave you a -16 as an ending balance. That's your ending balance if you go to the far side. Okay, now we want to keep 25,000 in the account. So -16, -25 means that you have a $41,000 required financing, which is called, you have a deficit here. And they told us we would in these 2 months. Again, what you're going to do with that, if you want to keep that budgeted amount as a deficit, you're going to have to borrow to cover it, or you could go and adjust your budget. For example, if you went back in your budget to your disbursements, this is where I would go. If you notice right here, your fixed assets, $130,000, you don't buy those assets this time and you wait and save for them, you could cut back on that. You could also not give a dividend, 20,000, and you could cut back. So that's another option since this is a budget. Cut back on spending. Okay. So if you go to the PowerPoint slides, all of this is on 417. There's the set of PowerPoint slides. Okay. Going through here, that's where they evaluate the cash budget and talk about it. Okay, and then your homework problem is on the next set of slides. You can go through. Here's all your homework. You need to finish that. Okay, this handout was actually from the textbook. Okay, let's go back to Wolf Den, and the homework was on Wolf Den. I had actually looked at it. Okay, you should have already prepared your receipts and disbursements. Now you want to finish up. This is your receipt section. Here's your disbursements. And down here at the bottom would be the budget that we just calculated. So you need to have that finished up. I'm looking at Friday the 28th, and I will definitely let you know through an email. Make sure you get that complete. Okay, take care. Bye.